Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR HALACHA. And here's a brand new HALACHA for you, and it's for Thursday, the 30th day of May, the 25th day of IYAR. Here we go. We're continuing on with our laws about the holiness of a shul. Okay, today we get to this question. You often hear the term shtibel used. Um, it's used in many different ways, but what people commonly mean when they say it around here in North America is that, somebody has a house, he has an extra room, he likes to have a minion there, so he makes a shtibel in his house where they have a minion, kind of often, and they call that the shtibel room. And his friends and 22 people show up there on Shabbos and they daven, and, they feel that that's not really a shul, it's just a shtibel. We daven there on Friday nights and Shabbos mornings and also on Motzei Shabbos or whatever, and then it's the playroom the rest of the week. So it doesn't really have full kedusha because it's really my kid's playroom. We just clean it up and daven in there on Shabbos morning. So when people do that, it seems like, well, everything's okay. You're allowed to play games in there and play musical chairs in there, etc., because it's not really a shul, it's a steeple. So they think that that makes everything permissible. But the Piskei Tshuva says that it actually causes a different problem that you wouldn't expect. And the problem is that now there isn't full kedusha, full holiness to this area, because you set it up such that it's really the kids' playroom, and you just daven there on Shabbos mornings with a bunch of friends. So then you didn't really imbibe the place with the full holiness of shul. And that's a problem because you want your shul to have full-fledged holiness. So although it seems to have been like you scooted by a good trick there because you got to double up on your playroom and also your shul, but now you lessen the holiness of your shul, which is a problem for the efficacy, for the good transfer of your tefillos, of your prayer. So it's a problem. You should definitely speak to your rabbi if you're in one of these arrangements or if you want to set up one of these arrangements. Now, the word shtibel is used in more proper ways, and that's where you sometimes have like the famous Beis Yisrael shtibel in Yerushalayim, many of them in Mea Shearim, where there really is a basement that's permanently some people like to call it a minyan factory. There are many minyanim there, and it's full-fledged holiness. Nobody uses it as a playroom. They daven in there all the time. This happens to be in somebody's basement or whatever. That's much more appropriate. That has full kedusha. That is a shul, and that's fine. But then you sometimes run into this. You will have bungalow colonies who will create a very big room, and due to shortages of space or money, they will use that big room for concerts and yoga classes and whatever. And also on Shabbos, it's the shul. So they feel like, well, we're not really, going against the holiness of shul. When we made this, we said it's the yoga room and it's also the shul. So they feel like we set it up such that in that way. But what a lot of the poskim say is that if you allowed and set it up such that kalus rosh or lightheadedness will happen in that room, then there's no kedusha to that room at all, and davening in there gives you no semblance of shul whatsoever, and it's a problem. If possible, you should try to make a building separate for the shul and a separate building for the, for the concerts, etc. Now, lastly, today you're not supposed to live on top of a shul. And that same goes for a non-Jew. He should not live on top of your shul. If the house, the entire building was bought in such a way that they knew in advance, we're going to have an apartment upstairs and we're going to have the shul on the main floor that's underneath that, that's allowed because they arranged it that way. Some people don't allow this. That's the Magen Avraham. But the minhag is, the custom is that everybody's lenient on this matter. That's what the Yabia Omer says. And therefore, you will commonly see in a lot of areas where the rabbi, right from the get-go, there's a shul arranged where it's a giant house, and they buy it and build it and arrange it such that the rabbi will live upstairs, the shul will be downstairs, and that's the permanent arrangement. They set it up that way. The Yabia Omer says that we have the custom to allow that in our age, and so it is. So it is. A lot of shuls. I know of many in the New York area that work exactly that way. They built it such that the rabbi's apartment with his family is upstairs. Main floor is the shul, and it seems that everybody allows this. Thanks for logging on, and log on again tomorrow for more.